the exit doors open to release us into airport arrivals. I notice a man in a slightly dishevelled suit. He's waving at us. His untamed, greying hair is accompanied by a greying moustache, and he's smoking a pipe, which he'll continue to do anywhere and everywhere for the next 35 years. The man knows no English, but when he smiles, his eyes beam at us. My Uncle Dika formally introduces us to my Auntie Mila's cousin Velibor. In this culture, he's as close to my aunt as a brother. We squeeze into the back of Velibor's Yugo. He drives us into Belgrade city centre, then circles a block of grey buildings until he spots a car pulling off the pavement and nips into the space before anyone else has the chance. We unfold our bodies to follow Velibor and Uncle Dika into the building in front of us. Auntie Mila is waiting. We haven't seen her since she came to England for my father's funeral, but she doesn't seem to change. She's wearing her best dress, never flamboyant. The clothes are muted, like the building, and slightly shapeless to hide the extra weight she carries these days. But later, I'll understand it's about more than that. She is still in the habit of trying not to draw attention to herself, still unable to believe, after all these years, that the secret police aren't watching her, ready to ask her where her clothes came from. As she stands in the doorway, she holds a handkerchief to her face, overcome with emotion at our first ever arrival in the country, only wishing my father, her brother Vasa, could be with us too. Her English is broken, but soon starts to warm up. We take off our shoes, and she ushers us into a large, comfortable lounge that doubles up as a bedroom. Sit, sit, she urges. Noticing my lack of socks, she hurries out of the room, coming back seconds later with a pair of her slippers. I'd been enjoying the cool of the parquet floor beneath my bare feet, but I will never be able to persuade her of that. She disappears again, returning with a tray of water glasses and a jar of what looks like lumpy jam. Try, she says, handing me a teaspoon. Sensing that I am unsure what to do, Velibor goes first, scooping one whole fruit from the jar, savouring it in his mouth before washing it down with water. Mila has cooked the peaches herself to make the traditional preserve that visitors are ceremoniously served, and everyone who has tasted it says it's the best slatko in town. We hear a shout from the window. Mila leans across the balcony, returning with a plate of freshly boiled corn on the cob. Her neighbour wants to welcome us too. No sooner have we finished than Mila shoos us into the kitchen, where she's been busy cooking up a feast of gibanitsa, a layered cheese pie, paprika, stuffed peppers, and all kinds of torte, cakes. We soon understand that most of the week will be spent eating. Velibor faithfully delivers us to every living relative in the driving distance. All are eager to meet us, embrace us, offer us a glass of slivovitsa, gesture at how my brother and I take after our father when we smile, and on account of our large noses, although they don't mention that. Then they welcome us with a feast of their own making until my skinny teenage body is so stuffed I think I'll explode. Somehow, in between eating, while Uncle Dika works and Auntie Mila cooks, we manage to see all sides of the city. Our cousin takes us to a rock concert in the park. Velibor's car rattles all the way up Mount Avila to visit the monument to the unknown hero, where a Serbian soldier from World War I is buried. And we admire the spectacular views over the city from the TV tower. I have my first sip of the local Yellen beer in Skodalia, the Covent Garden-style streets where tourists are serenaded by local musicians playing accordions and guitars. And everywhere we go, there's a framed photograph on the wall of the same man, Josip Broz Tito, communist president of Yugoslavia. It would be unthinkable for a museum, cafe, or restaurant not to display his picture. The last day of our trip arrives, and Auntie Mila fusses around us, trying to hide her tears as she pushes more homemade food into our impossibly full suitcases. She hugs me tight, pressing a slim silver box into my hand, a tiny powder compact with Coty engraved on the lid. She's treasured it since 1946. Vasa sent me from Paris, she says, between her tears. I open the clasp. The mirror on the inside of the lid is still intact, but the powder is long gone, my aunt having loved every grain she dusted over her face as a young woman. The puff has been replaced with cotton wool. Underneath, on a delicate chain, is a gold crucifix. Take, please, it belonged to your grandmother. I politely thank her, despite wondering what I'll do with this old-fashioned jewellery. I'm too young to consider branding myself an atheist. But religion just hasn't played a part in my life. Maybe Dad lost faith after everything that happened. But while we wait in the departure lounge for our flight back to England, I clutch the silver compact, thinking for the first time about the grandmother I never knew. I feel my husband's arm around me, bringing me back to the present. It's Monday the 1st of June, 2015. By coincidence, this would have been my father's birthday. We're sitting on a bench in the corridor of the court, outside room number 32. Suddenly, a voice comes over the tannoy. It's calling my name.